So when I go off to teach classes, and I leave here with equipment for the class, you always say the same thing. What is the most important thing about teaching?
Well, actually, I believe what I ask you is, remember the three most important things, right?
Yep. Every time.
Every time. And the three most important things about training are safety, safety, and sing it with me now, safety. Yeah, safety, safety, and safety. Here's the thing. How do you take something that is wickedly deadly to do and make it safe enough so you can practice it and learn it? You know? So there are two basic approaches. There's the physical and the psychological. Let's see if I can make up some shit here. The physical approach to safety has two parts. You can toughen the target, or you can soften the weapon, right? So toughening the target means you wear headgear, you wear a mouthpiece, you wear a padded chest protector, you wear a mask, whatever the scene is, right? So that should you receive a blow, you have personal protective equipment on, right? That's toughening the target. Softening the weapon is when you're boxing, you wear gloves, or if you're kickboxing, you wear booties, right? Or in fencing, you don't practice with a sharp rapier that's made to penetrate. You practice with a mock rapier, much lighter, softer blade. It's made to bend rather than penetrate. It's not sharp, all that stuff, right? So the difficulty with the physical approach to safety is that there is there's a struggle between safety and verisimilitude. In other words, for your training to be any good, it's got to be as real as possible. But if it's as real as possible, it may not be very safe. So you can have real training, or you can have safe training. Those are the two extremes. And what we're trying to do is get somewhere in the middle. So it's safe enough that, we're not being suicidal here, but it's real enough that it still has some value and application to what we're actually doing, right? I mean, if you change the thing so much, if you change the weapon so much that it no longer represents the weapon and how it's used in the circumstances and the tactics and all that, then what the hell are you training for, right? It's like if you want to be a swimmer, but you never get in the water because it's too dangerous. So, you see where I'm going? That's, so you have to get in the water. If you want to be a swimmer, you're going to get wet, right? You have to. It may not be 100% safe. But if you don't get in the water, it's 100% not swimming. Anyway, so that's a physical approach to safety. There's also a psychological approach. And the psychological approach is just, we make up a code of conduct, a set of behaviors, which we demand or prohibit. Right? And in my opinion, this is the way to go. First, relying, there are parachutes that fail to open. So if you're relying on mechanistic things to save you, I'm not sure I'm willing to put all my eggs in that basket. I think the best safety device in the Salles d'Armes is the skill and judgment of the people who are practicing. So we want to develop that good judgment by creating a set of behaviors that they emulate and that become habit. Here's my two rules for rules. Rule number one, never make a rule you don't need. And number two, never make a rule you don't enforce. Justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be done. You dig? That means people have to know that the rules will be enforced. That's what makes them rules and not suggestions. Right? That's really important. If you have rules that you then fail to enforce, then people assume that none of the rules are really very important. So if you have a rule you don't need, some silly fucking thing that's superfluous, unnecessary, and people might reasonably say, boy, that's superfluous and unnecessary, bag that, I'm not going to worry about that one. Because as part of your code, people then may extrapolate to the other things that really are important and say, well, he made that silly rule, that wasn't important, I don't have to do that. Oh, here's another one, that's not important, I don't have to do that. Oh, don't come at anybody with a sharp blade, oh, that's not important, I don't have to do that. People will tend to err on the side of stupidity. All right? So we have certain rules. I'll give you an example. One rule is you never aim, if you're a marksman, you know this one. You never aim at a weapon at anyone or anything that you don't intend to destroy. That may be figuratively or literally. Right? You never aim a weapon at anyone who's not wearing a mask or personal protective equipment appropriately. And I mean never. And I mean fucking never. And I mean if I see you do it, you're fucking out of here. First time. Because it's too dangerous to allow you a second time. So that's a big one. And if I see you doing that, I don't really give much of a fuck about your reason for doing it. Oh, we were only down, or we were only taking, or we were only messing around, or we were only taking pictures, or we only, yeah. That's why they call it an accident, because you didn't intend to hit the guy in the eye or in the throat, right? That was not your intention. Oh, well, your intention doesn't mean shit. It's what you actually do that matters. Actually, that's a pretty good lesson. So, my rules come down to three things. It's called the 3Ds. The 3Ds. Not 3D, but the 3Ds. And the 3Ds are this. D number one, dangerous. Okay? The big D, dangerous. If I see you do something just so outrageously stupid, like maybe throw a weapon across the room at somebody, that's like above and beyond the call of stupid. You're gone. Seriously. I mean, that's just nuts. Or if you I don't know what else. If you take the protective rubber tip off a weapon because you want to see what it's like to, no. Or if you want to see what it's like to fence without a mask on, or, no. There's a certain amount of risk that is acceptable, and there's a certain other amount of risk that's just stupid. We have certain risks we accept. We do not accept the risks that are just plain stupid. So that's what I mean by dangerous. It means extra dangerous, right? Like candidly, overtly, patently dangerous behavior. D number 2 is discourteous. This is a tough one because people learn to be routinely discourteous to each other everywhere, under all circumstances. And I won't have that. In my opinion, discourtesy is a coward's imitation of courage and a weakling's imitation of strength. Now, that is reason enough right there to bar discourtesy from your house. But there's an extra layer because discourtesy also has a way of going back to dangerous. People who do discourteous things tend to do dangerous things too. Because it's part of their discourtesy. They're not thinking of it as dangerous, they're just being discourteous, but guess where it winds up? So, dangerous, discourteous. The third D is dishonest. I will admit that this is a personal beef of mine. I cannot abide a liar. So, and again, part of the trouble is that dishonesty has a way of leading back to dangerous. Give you an example. You ask a guy, did you check the charge on those fire extinguishers? Are they full? Are they good to go? And he says, oh yeah, don't worry about it. But he didn't do it. He's lying to you. And now you got a fire, and you grab an extinguisher, and you hit that sucker, and there's no charge in it. See the problem? So, the 3 Ds, dangerous, discourteous, and dishonest. Those are the 3 ways to get kicked out of my cell. I don't know, does that make sense? Does that seem reasonable? I think it does. That's what we try and do with safety. And safety, this whole picture about safety, that's just about the first conversation we have with every new class and every new student. You know, it's right at the top of the outline. Number 1. And I want to make sure everybody understands. And I ask them questions. Do you understand what I mean by that? And then I ask them, do you agree with that? Are you willing to abide by those measures, by those safety rules? And I want each and every person in that class to look me in the eye and say, yes, I agree. And then we can get going.